Protesters are still occupying several main streets across the city one day ahead of a dialogue between the government and student leaders. There are still ralliers gathered in Admiralty, Causeway Bay, and in Mongkok on day 23 of the Occupy protests. But protesters on Nathan Road between Argyle and Dundas Streets and on Argyle Street between Tung Choi and Portland Streets have just been ordered by the High Court to leave immediately. And earlier today, a minibus company and two taxi drivers associations filed applications for injunctions, that is, against the occupation of roads in Mongkok, saying business has been seriously affected by it. Judge Jeremy Poon said tonight no one, even if they are demonstrators, can take up the roads for themselves. He said public interests of society as a whole have to be considered. He hoped the demonstrators would respect the court order, saying people should resolve dissatisfaction rationally through the legal system. He added, Mongkok has a chance of turning from civil disobedience into civil disorder.
Government officials spoke on the possible effects of the Occupy movement on Hong Kong's economy today. Meanwhile, an executive council member expressed confidence that Occupy protesters aren't influenced by foreign forces. Stephanie Choi reports.
Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Gregory So called on occupiers to end their movement for social order to resume as soon as possible. This, he explained, is because foreign investors worried about the city's stability have said they may put off plans to invest in Hong Kong, seeing the short-term effects Occupy Central has had on the city. So far, he added, nobody has withdrawn his or her investment yet. So appealed to the occupiers to appreciate Hong Kong and its business environment, explaining that it will take a lot of hard work to remedy any damage done. As for the launch of the Shanghai-Hong Kong Stock Connect, Financial Secretary John Tsang assured the public that Occupy Central will not cause delays. Many have worked hard on the Shanghai-Hong Kong Stock Connect over the past year, he said. All is in order for its launch, he added. Meanwhile, Executive Council member Bernard Chan said he doesn't think the people of Hong Kong will be easily swayed by foreign influences, although he added that he believes foreign forces are definitely present in gathering intelligence in the city. He believes the people of Hong Kong have the ability to decide whether to take part in the protest. Chan's comments came after Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying said in a TV interview last night that he believes external forces are involved in the Occupy movement. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
Many Occupy protesters are insisting on staying the course until they see progress in their fight for democracy. As Diane To reports, all eyes are now on the dialogue between the government and student leaders scheduled for tomorrow evening.
With 5 representatives from each side, the government and the Federation of Students will hold their first dialogue from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow at the Hong Kong Academy of Medicine in Wong Chuk Hang. No members of the public are invited, but the talks will be broadcast live with simultaneous translation into English. The long-awaited dialogue is the first step in the direction of progress as the Occupy movement entered its 4th week. The government has urged the students to look at the political reality and drop preconditions such as their demand for a civil nomination, for Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying to resubmit his report on Hong Kong's views regarding political reform to Beijing, and for Beijing to retract the framework it's set for the SAR. But some protesters said today it's the government that's ignoring the reality that their fight for genuine democracy is serious.
I do believe the government should face the reality to solve the problem. That's the only one to ease the problem and also to maintain the peace of the city.
Many have been doubtful about how much progress the dialogue could actually achieve, but some believe both sides have to be willing to compromise.
Depends how much flexibility there is from either side. There has to be give and take also from the government side as well. Otherwise, these people are going to stay here. And they are making a point, they're making a good point.
In a TV interview last night, Leung Chun-ying insisted that the problem lies in that the students still insist on things that aren't legal, such as civil nomination. He reiterated that universal suffrage for the 2017 CE election has to be implemented in accordance with the Basic Law. Leung also claimed there is obviously participation by people, organizations in the Occupy movement from different countries, but didn't specify which ones. Federation of Students Alex Chow has retorted that the government can submit a request to amend the Basic Law so that what's not legal can become legal. He also denied any meddling by foreign powers in the students' protests, saying the chief executive, as a top official, needs to show some evidence if he's going to make these accusations. Diane To, TVB News.
Several groups are calling on the Occupy demonstrators to leave the roads and to allow social order to be restored. And as Ronnie Samtani reports, some in Mongkok, inconvenienced by the blockades, were attacked by protesters when they tried to move barricades.
34-year-old dim sum chef Mr. Yang was on his way home on Saturday morning when he was attacked by Occupy protesters. Yang said he tried to move some obstacles that were blocking his building's entrance near the Mongkok occupied area, but scuffles erupted with Occupy demonstrators. Yang said he was hit with an umbrella and sustained injuries to his hand. He reported the incident to police. As the sole breadwinner of the family, he claims he finds himself in a very difficult situation because doctors have suggested that he rest for 2 months. Security guards have been manning building entrances in Mongkok to prevent protesters from entering. This comes as more scuffles broke out last night in the area. Tension mounted, raising worries that violence might break out again at around midnight, similar to the chaotic scenes on the previous 2 evenings. Scores of Occupy supporters could be seen wearing hard hats, goggles, and foam padding in anticipation of a police move to clear them from the streets. But efforts by pan-democratic legislators Claudia Mo and Fernando Zheng appeared to help calm the situation. The 2 lawmakers addressed both protesters and police on the streets. The 2 sides agreed to step back, and Zheng urged them to refrain from violence. Meanwhile, almost 400 district councillors have jointly signed an open letter urging people to leave occupied areas so that social order can be restored and roads can be reopened to traffic.
Residents cannot bear any more for the difficulties in their daily life. We have received a lot of complaints, and Mongkok is also one of the areas that have been seriously disturbed. We call for their calmness, that they would go home, and we hope that they could hear the complaints and the difficulties of ordinary residents.
In addition, more than 100,000 civil servants from the Government Employees Association and the Hong Kong Civil Servants General Union chairman also issued a joint statement. The group said the Occupy movement has caused major rifts within society, especially between people and the police. They also criticized politicians for using the police's miscalculations in law enforcement actions as political ammunition to attack the government and the police force. Responding to the open letter, Democratic Party's Albert Ho, also a Tuen Mun district councillor, said he understands that the movement has affected the lives of Hong Kong people, adding that it is a shame that police officers are bearing the brunt of the movement. But he said the protests will only be alleviated if the dialogue between the government and the students is fruitful. Ronnie Samtani, TVB News.